morning. I swear a lot.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back, finally, to the book club. Y'all didn't think I was going to come back, because to be honest, I wasn't sure if I was going to either. But yeah, no, I do want to do this, and I do want to finish it. Contrary to how it likely may seem from my statements and general demeanor, I do still have a strong love for the Project Moon universe. The games, Ruina in particular, I think is incredible. I adore the video game, I really do. I love it. And I do want to wrap this up. I do want to read more about, you know, the characters in general, even though a lot of this is kind of going over what the in-game information provides. There are extra details in here, but the problem is it's been a very long time since I played Ruina now. It's been 9 months or so, give or take. I can't quite remember exactly when I finished it, but the point is, I might get some details wrong. Now, I was getting details wrong before anyway because I just don't know as much about the game as the rest of you guys, but that might be even more so the case this time. Please, by all means, correct me in the comments, but just keep in mind that if you're like, how the fuck is he getting all this wrong? It's because I played 9 months ago. And there are details I don't remember. But let's jump back in. We got to Urban Plague last time. We actually made it a fair ways before I finally fucking gave up. So, he says I don't have a disease, quote-unquote, hospital. Uh-huh. And there's our girl. The real black silence, spoilers. And we start with the carnival. God, I remember first meeting these guys and being like, yeah, this game's just going to be a series of non-sequitorial weird characters. But it does, of course, all tie together after a while. But at this point, I was like, this is just a bunch of nonsense, I'm sure. These designs are fucking cool though, it must be said. One of the most important things for a fixer is their clothing. The outfits have different characteristics depending on the material, so it is up to the individual to choose what suits them most. Those who produce and provide the fabric are called tailors. The carnival is considered to be high class among tailors, even though the patent for the technology of making silk out of what you consume has long expired. The carnival has earned its renown above many other competitors because of their ability to identify the target that would make the type of silk the client needs. The way they talk is extraordinary. It's funny. Oh, and they can make silk with this part. I wonder how it works. There's a whole lot of techniques for producing fabric, I see. Curious, have not seen before. Is fun. Want to hear more? So amongst our creepy hosts, we have Alpha, VA Kimbona, age unknown, gender unknown, height 196 centimeters, taller than me, birthday unknown, personality traits, balanced, generous, composed, occupation tailor, hobbies eating, funny enough. Isn't it nice when your occupation and your hobby come in together? Specialties, making fabric with lovely colors, likes clean and stiff fabric, dislikes ink, blood, and that which stains fabric. Yes, I can imagine you don't like shit that ruins what you make. I am still a little bit under the weather, so I'll probably keep this one a little bit short so as not to fuck out my voice. Beta, VA Kim Yeonwoo. Height 196, same as previous. Personality traits, querulous, I'm not sure. Curious, innocent, occupation tailor. Hobbies, making a cat's cradle out of leftover string, but it snaps before long. Specialty, spinning thread after eating as much prey as possible. Likes good tastes, dislikes lacking tastes and bad tastes. A connoisseur, a gourmet, you could even say. Gamma, VA Shim Kyu Hyuk. Height, once again, 196 centimeters. Personality traits, hospitable, worrisome, and meticulous. Occupation, tailor. Again. Hobbies, making patterned fabric. Specialties, neatly cutting fabric. Likes smooth and thin threads. Dislikes snagged threads. These guys must be a riot at parties. I was asked by the director to make their poses grotesque and bug-like. It was funny seeing Scuttle Scuttle written in the design document. That is one of their moves, isn't it? If I remember correctly, one of their cards. It's been a while, but I think it was. If not, it was something similar. One of the programmers took a look at the artwork where the carnival is running and said it looks just like the art director leaving the office, which got the whole studio bursting with laughter. Get wrecked. I was in charge of directing the majority of the voiceovers for the story, however there was just one day when I couldn't participate. That happened to be the day when the carnival's lines were recorded. Completely clueless about how the recording had gone, I heard the lines for the first time when they were implemented in the game, and it was so hard to hold back my laughter in the office. The characters are just oozing with charm. Charm is one way you could put it, I suppose. Malevolent horror is also another one I'd use. It was the first episode to be added after the early access release. It features pages that manipulate the opponent's hand, but I don't think it worked well with this game since many bosses following fixed patterns were featured afterward. That's true. A lot of the bosses have like the shimmering effect and stuff where it's basically like, fuck you, you can't fuck with your opponent's level of light or cards, because otherwise the boss would be rendered completely trivial. Their unusual speech pattern alongside the voice actor's delivery made for memorable guests. Before their manner of speech was set, we thought a lot about how their characteristics should be expressed, and I remember visiting a custom suit store to learn more about the concept of tailoring. Yeah, I think garnering that kind of information, getting that kind of knowledge before writing their lines and doing their dialogue, was what made the difference between them just being horrible, mindless monsters who just happen to make clothes, to actually appearing as figures in this world who provide a service that is highly sought after by fixers, syndicates, and whomever else, right? They're obviously these horrific bug-like creatures, and that's like the most prevalent thing about them. But at the same time, it's clear they know what they're doing, right? It's like, oh, okay, they are actually all about their craft. They're all about making these clothes. These clothes are more protective than like a suit of plate armor. It really reinforces how important these characters are to the overall running of the city, or at least to some people. These are obviously not the only tailors in the city, but these are clearly good ones, which means it undoubtedly had an effect on the city when you turn them into books. Though, of course, I guess they're back now, aren't they? So the city runs near enough as it did before. And then we get to see their animations, which admittedly I actually didn't get to see very much of. I don't remember struggling with the carnival particularly. I might be wrong, maybe we lost, I don't know. I don't remember, I don't think we did. I think it was the musicians of Bremen when we first started really suffering. And yeah, they came after these guys, so... Well, actually technically came after the Full Stop office, but we weren't struggling just yet. We were about to get there though, because Dawn office, Wedge office, Love Town, yeah, there was some tough stuff in Urban Plague, for real. And this was also when I got horribly sick. Yeah, I remember. I probably should be saying this later, but I remember because I got horribly sick. And when I'm sick, or just generally compromised, I tend to be a little bit more emotional, and listening to From a Place of Love fucked me up for a while. That didn't help with my recovery process. Thanks, Millie, I appreciate it. Except I don't. It's a good song, though. Yeah, but these... I like these. This is really cool. The amount of body horror involved is very nice, and the scuttling is fucking creepy, and I also really like the key page version. I remember Artorius, that's it, Artorius used this outfit for the longest time, and I remember always really appreciating that scythe, that like sickle scythe thing there. I liked how creepy it was, but it was still humanoid, because I kind of dislike the key page appearances that basically turn the librarian into not human, as it were. Like, they should exist, they should be there, but I personally am not a fan of them. So I liked this one for still maintaining the humanoid aspect of the librarian while also incorporating the morphing capabilities of the carnival itself. Like, this one really shows off more than anything else. But it's clear that they don't actually have all those weapons in their coat, and they're kind of materializing them, as it were, which is pretty cool in my opinion. And it's time for everyone's beloved Full Stop office. I remember these guys. Yui used Li Wei's gear for the longest time, purely because Li Wei is like the first hybrid page you get, and the only one you have for a long time. It's an office specialized in carrying out assassination requests, mostly with guns. Oh, not all of the fixers have their fingers on the trigger constantly. There's one guy who engages in melee combat utilizing his speed. If you ask why, it's probably the tax on bullets. Usually bullets are too expensive for an ordinary office to afford to waste, so they have to make it count. It's crucial to aim carefully and neutralize the target in one shot. You shouldn't expect the bullets to even graze a big-name fixer though. Why use guns despite the downside, you ask? Because it's still pretty useful in the right circumstances. I mean, how many people out there can dodge a bullet fired out of nowhere? It's why Tamaki is really like I would say the best use of a gun in this team, because clearly that's a rifle, that's clearly for long distance, and it's clearly for sniping. Like, yeah, Stefan's rifle, which is probably used more for suppressing fire, is probably a good shout, but at the end of the day, when bullets are so expensive, suppressing fire does feel like a bit of a waste of money. Just a bit. Whereas Li Wei utilizes what is presumably a high caliber revolver, which would probably be a last resort. Okay, well, I put a bullet in you and you're dead because that bullet's so fucking big you're not coming back from it. Li Wei, VA Li Shangmin, which I think has popped up more than a few times. Age 31 years, gender male, height 176 centimeters, 5'9", so I'm taller than him. Ha ha ha. Birthday, September 18th. Personality traits, meticulous, efficient, and sharp. Grade 4 fixer. Hobbies, darts. Well, that's a good hobby for a fucking gun user. Specialities, aiming for weak spots, likes cafe latte and rusk, which I don't know what that is. Dislikes sour food. Tamaki, age 26 years, gender female, height 144 centimeters, 4'9". She is tiny. Birthday, May 31st. Personality traits, straightforward, reserved, attentive. Grade 6 fixer. Hobbies, weapon maintenance, handy. Specialties, accuracy, I would hope. Likes, ice, espresso, and is it ice and espresso? Or just ice? That's ice and espresso, but like separate, whatever. Dislikes hot food. Stefan, age, 25 years, gender, male, height, 171, 5'7", birthday, July 1st, personality traits, sensitive, negative, cautious, grade 5 fixer, hobbies, checking his bank account, too real, specialities, physical labor, likes sports drinks and hard candies, dislikes dangerous jobs. I bet he was thrilled to be on this one. The episode was first revealed at AGF 2019, an otaku culture convention. The current script is different from what was shown at AGF. In fact, we had adjusted the scenario and character lines prior to the convention, but the previous version got into the demo build by accident. I honestly think that might be a happy accident, because then people thought they knew what was happening, and then when you showed them the real thing, they were like, whoa, this is different, which would be fun and interesting. They're memorable to me since they were the first guests I received at the AGF 2019 booth before I joined the studio. When the art style changed to the current iteration, I was very much looking forward to seeing the full stop office characters in the new chibi style, but I didn't think I'd end up being the one to draw them. That must be strange, right? You go to see this game that you're looking forward to playing, like you're kind of hyped for it, and then they fucking hire you to work on it? Must be nuts. I think these are the first characters I saw before I joined this project, beating out even Roland and Angela. They were the only ones I could look at and go, oh hey, I know these faces, which is ironic because they are not very distinguishable to me. Seeing them when I was reading the scenario was a pleasant encounter. As a side note, Argalia's pen was a silver fountain pen in my head. Oh, of course, it's a fancy pen, for real. It would have to be. Stefan had a charming character that made it easy to come up with ideas for directing his design concepts and page art. On the contrary, Liwei was a regular cool guy, so forming ideas was quite tricky for him. Yeah, he's pretty generic to be fair. I like Liwei, but yeah, he's a bit generic. The symbol was made in a hurry when it was decided that they were going to be featured in the AGF demo. The setting for full stop office did exist already, but I struggled with making a punctuation mark and a bullet hole into something that looks like a symbol. That's when I was reminded of the stencil typography you'd often see in the army. I figured that I could make a fairly convincing design by combining the aesthetics of guns and military facilities. When I first started designing it, I was annoyed with the lack of ideas, but in retrospect, it's one of my favorite symbols. It's also the only one that has unadulterated angle? I don't know what that means, but okay. Yeah, it's a decent symbol, honestly. Not bad. I like it. The card art for these is quite nice, because maybe it stuck out to me more because it was one of the first ones to actually implement guns. Like, that one probably stuck out to me the most, the headshot one. And it's probably the one I ended up using the most because this was back when you still had very limited ammo with ranged cards. So whenever I used ranged cards, I wanted the highest damage ones possible to get the most out of my bullets, which was often headshot. Yeah, these guys are cool. Over time, I've really warmed up to Liwei's design, to be honest. Blade and handgun, I'm a big fan. That's how I play Darktide, right? So, yeah, no, I like that quite a lot. I might even choose that for myself if I were to play again, I don't know. But I really like, what are they called? The knife boys. The knife boys in the late game that use stilettos. I can't remember what they're called, but you know who I mean. The ones who basically make pierce decks into the greatest thing ever. I appreciate Tamaki's rifle, and I've never been a big fan of Stefan, but I know people like him, so that's cool. But his design never really did much for me. Liwei is probably my favorite, despite being generic. He is generic, but I kind of like it. He's not trying to look special. He's just a guy in a coat. I like coats. Ah, boy, here we go. An office established by Salvador, the fixer who used to be a hotshot in his youth, but has gone down a few steps since. If I had to point out its features, I guess it's the antique furniture in the scent of Sanghua. I know what it's referring to, I just don't know how it's pronounced, making the mood of the office. It's decked out in that old man's liking to a T. You'd think the office would struggle to handle requests because of its smaller staff size, but it's made up of a few fixers with pretty high grades, so I hear they have no problem dealing with urban legend level requests. Alas, there's only so much a small number of fixers can do, so it seems they don't really get large-scale jobs often. Urban legend requests pay a good amount, but I suppose it's not that much when you take the monthly rent of a nest into consideration. Still, they seem to be working in harmony, sort of like a family. I still think it's fucking crazy that Yuna actually took down like an entire thing by herself involving Yesterday's Promise, which I absolutely did not pick up on at the time, but did later. But yeah, she just did all that by herself. She's really fucking tough. In fact, I think the game downplays her a bit. I actually think the game downplays Salvador and Yuna quite a bit. I think they're both way tougher than gameplay would imply. But you're gonna get that in most games, right? Where in gameplay a character isn't nearly as strong as they're implied to be in canon, as it were. Like, I feel like these guys should, at least these two. I understand Philip being here because or Philip being here because he's green. But these two, I reckon, should be like a fucking stage above. They should be in the next chapter, as it were. But, you know, you have to make sacrifices and contrivances for gameplay. It doesn't make these characters less cool, in my opinion. How does that tea taste? I'm honestly kind of curious. The kind of taste that's good for your body, maybe? Nah, you haven't tried the real deal, he said. It's awesome with soft-boiled egg yolk, you know? You can even drink it if you don't feel like a full meal. It's intriguing that you can have a tea as a substitute for a meal. I mean, I drink Huel sometimes, and that's supposed to be a substitute for a meal. It's not a particularly satisfying substitute for a meal, but it's better than nothing. Salvador, age 54 years. He looks older than 54 because they gave him pure fucking white hair. People don't go immediately grey at 54. My dad's older than him and has way less grey hairs, but then again, Salvador's probably had a much more stressful life, so maybe that checks out. Gender, male, height, 180 centimeters, 5'11", birthday, September 12th. Personality traits, rational, serene, genial. Grade 3. Hobbies, short sessions of knitting during a break. Specialities, great discernment. He likes sangwa, sha, tea, and jazz music, but he doesn't like noise. Probably wouldn't like me very much, I talk a lot. His VA is Lian Seok. I don't know if I said that, but I came back. Yuna, VA, Munyu Zhong. Age 34 years, gender female, height 178, 5'10", birthday November 10th, personality traits easygoing, enterprising, tender-hearted, grade 4. Hobbies, going out for a walk at a nearby park and mahjong. Specialities, good grip strength and stamina. Likes milk tea and coffee, dislikes repetitive work. Yeah, that's pretty similar to my likes and dislikes, though I don't like coffee. Philip, it's our boy. It's the boy, VA Kim Min-ju, who did a fantastic job with Philip, by the way. That VA did a very good job. Gender, male, height, 175, 5'9". Birthday, April 30th. Personality traits, pessimistic, diffident, and gentle, yeah? Grade 5 fixer. Hobbies, listening to music. Specialities, good on the uptake and brewing tea. Likes chamomile tea. Dislikes rodents and large birds. Okay, sure. Salvador is fostering the younger generation after living a dramatic life as a fixer in his youth. I think the story of his life could make for an interesting tale on its own. I agree, honestly. If you have someone who manages to get to 50 years old working as a fixer, they've probably got stories to tell. And that's why I think Salvador should be a lot tougher than he actually is in-game. Fear the old in a profession where people die young, right? He's gonna be some serious business if he's still alive at this point. I was curious about Yuna's weapon when I was working on her chibi sprites, so the director came in and gave me a detailed expression using a tablet. He drew a sketch of giant blades flying out of her cello case, which made me laugh because of how simple it was. It's a pity I can't share that drawing with you. I just generally really like Yuna's design. And I think it suited, before Eva got her own unique skin, I thought Yuna suited her really well, because it had that kind of unpredictable aspect to it, while also maintaining an outwards demeanor of, I don't know if elegance is quite the word, but like composure, like not too crazy, but then when combat starts, it's all fucking loopy and like, oh my god, this blade's flying out of that fucking cello case, what's going on? I just felt like it suited Eva very well. But honestly, the skin made for Eva afterwards was perfect. And the fact that it had Grinder was even better. Like, I adore that skin, I really do. I think it's fantastic. Dawn Office. It's the beginning of the first main storyline that I was put in charge of since joining Project Moon. Of course, the general framework for Philip's plot was already there. I wanted to write a fun story out of good characters and materials, but I see many things that could have been done better when I look back. Though it still doesn't change the fact that I adore this office. Honestly, I think this was handled perfectly fine. My only complaint is that these two are too early, but like I said, that really doesn't impact my enjoyment of it. It really doesn't. I think the whole Dawn Office thing was handled very well. I think Philip's thing was handled very well, because it feels like the game's desperately trying to be like, he might bring it back, like he's gonna be a cool guy, he's gonna stop fucking around and finally get his act together and be a cool guy, and each time it's just no, he keeps failing, he keeps failing. It's appropriately tragic. Ironically, it becomes less tragic once he joins the Blue Reverberation. He's at his I don't know if happiest is the word, but he's at his most content there. I enjoy that tea a lot. My heart got filled with joy and excitement when a gift of that tea arrived at Ham Ham Pang Pang one day. Sipping the tasty that tea like zoop zoop. I drank it all on behalf of Salvador. Thank you, Salvador, and thank you to the people who had the generosity to give us those presents. I bow to you. Yeah, this office has some of the best like sprites. I think I love these sprites. Salvador's is fucking sick. The fact that he has a two-handed sword and two like short swords incorporated into his fighting style is fantastic. I love Salvador's fighting style. Where is it? Yeah, these are the moves I love. Yeah, I love Salvador's moves to pieces. Absolutely adore them. I'd have liked to have used Phillips more, to be honest, because it's a very cool set. I actually prefer this to his big fucking partially distorted angel form. I like the simplicity of it. But that's just me, I'm very boring. And Yuna's moveset is great. I adore Yuna's moveset. Because it shows here, like this implies that Yuna utilizes the blades in many different ways rather than just having them shoot out of the fucking cello case. Like here, it's used defensively. Here, the blades are extended but not too far, so it can be used as a melee weapon rather than as more of a ranged option. And then down here is obviously it being used for the purposes of reach. And the rest of her animations imply that, you know, it's a bit unwieldy to have the blades flying out of the cello case all the fucking time, so she's typically just got it on her shoulder and moving around, like in combat, moving around, dodging, ducking, perhaps bringing it to the front to block. The blades only come out when she needs to attack, which is cool. I like it. I like this. Philip's got decent form. It's nothing particularly fancy, but you got a stab, got block. It's good. I like it. I like. It's how I know I've become a boring adult, that I like form that is slightly flashy, but not too flashy. And I think that's why I like Salvador the most, because none of this shit is ridiculous. That's ridiculous, admittedly, but that's cool enough that it doesn't matter. But the rest of this stuff is very elegant and measured, and that's why I like Salvador's fighting style the most. Very cool. Gaze Office, God, I love Bono. God, Bono is cool. God, I love Bono. I love that skin so much. Bono is so fucking cool. God damn it. I actually love Gaze Office in general. I have to admit, Dalok is probably my least favorite. Not because of the feminine. I feel like the feminine aspects was a good choice. I think that's a solid idea for this, but it just doesn't quite fit. It's just sick. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly the same as the other two, but it sticks out a bit too much. I feel like it could have done with being a little more uniform. Whereas these two have muted colors with bright highlights. I'm gonna say she, but it's a robot and has no actual gender. She's just bright colors with black, and it just doesn't quite fit, in my opinion. Like, even here, you can see how ridiculous it looks with her on the side, which is a shame. It's not that I dislike the design itself, I just don't feel like it fits here. I don't know, it's not a big deal by any stretch. It really isn't, but it does bug me a little, especially since these two are such slam dunks. I feel like a little more could have been done to integrate this, but it's not a big deal. It is true that Gaze Office specializes in collecting intel, but it's not exactly the official kind of gathering and compiling bits of info like what the Seven Association does. The office's work is to carry out investigations in the field and hand the deets over to the client, and being unofficial means they have more liberty to pull less than honest methods, like the device they attach to those other guys. Imagine being watched by such a persistent gaze. The thought gives me the creeps. Right, so that's where gaze came from. The robotic gaze. Alec, VA, Kwon Seong Hyuk, age unknown, gender unknown, height 188, 6'2", taller than me. Birthday, December 12th. Personality traits, blunt, improvisational, opportunistic. Grade 4. Hobbies, nothing in particular. Specialties, seizing opportunities for a quick attack. Likes honor, dislikes overcharges and overloads. Dalek, age unknown, gender unknown, height 150 centimeters, 4'11". She's tiny. Birthday, July 3rd. Personality traits, insensitive, cold-hearted, inattentive. Grade 5 fixer. Hobby, shutting down for a nap while charging up. Specialty, swift defense. Likes wide sleeves, bright and comfortable outfits. Dislikes electrical discharge. Bono. Sorry, VA Yun A-young. I don't think I said that. Bono, VA, Kwon Shang-wook. Age, unknown, gender unknown. Height, 180, 5'11". Birthday, October 25th. Personality traits: overly talkative, realistic, faithless. Grade 5 fixer. Hobbies: looking for new prosthetic bodies. Why bother? This is already perfect. Specialties: strong individual attacks. Likes: clear answers, unconcerning things. Dislikes: dangerous and uncertain jobs. Looking at the name immediately made me think of the Rainbow Bono Bono meme. Surprisingly enough, I heard that was not the intention. I thought it was a reference to Bono, that music guy. I saw the gays office as fellows who don't get along well. When I wrote the script, the general idea I had was that while they're talented as individuals, they're totally out of sync when they work together, and Alec is there to hold the two together and lead them. Well, if that's the intent, then Dalek's design actually makes a lot more sense. I don't know, that's a difficult thing to pull off visually though, because it's kind of ruined by Alec looking very similar to Bono. If you're going to go with the, if you're going to convey this visually, and it really doesn't matter if you don't, but if you're going to convey this visually, then Alec would need a completely different appearance as well to symbolize the out of sync nature of their partnership. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Like I said, I keep talking about it, but it's not a big deal. When I was working on the chibi sprites for Gaze Office, Alec's weapon still hadn't been decided. Yeah, it's a weird one. The design notes I received said the weapon was going to be a stick resembling an oboe in shape, but I mistakenly drew an actual oboe, which got the director flustered. Nevertheless, it was approved and put in the game. Alec's attacks were accompanied by the instrument's sounds. I think it's a good idea. It's distinctive. A chromatic group of guests having to decide on weapons and attacks for Alec and Dalek. I just noticed that their names are very similar. That has never occurred to me before. Interesting. Due to the game's structure of receiving guests through combat was difficult. To go with Alec's weapon, I made the SFX to produce an electronic sound resembling the woodwinds. The sound was pleasing to my ears during the making of it, and it felt great to see the positive reaction from players. It is fun. It's definitely fun. But these animations are pretty fun. Like, Alex is alright. It's pretty cool. It's nothing incredibly special, but it's notable and I like it. Alec looks very cool. Also, the card art for these guys is fucking killer. Dalek... Any complaints I have about Dalek's personal taste, I am not disparaging the quality here, simply not to my personal taste. But well done, regardless. And Bono is a big win. Look at Bono. Look at this idiot. I love it. Look at his Titanfall helmet. And Doc Octopus arms. What a hero. He looks so stupid. I love it. But this card art, and I'm going to give Dalek some credit here now. These two look great. These two look fucking brilliant. The way she fucking caves that person's head in, brilliant. Love it. That one and that one are really cool, and all three of these are fantastic. All of Bono's are fantastic. If I had to pick one, this is the best one. There is a lot of tone in that image. A lot of tone. I like that a lot. Oh, hell yes, weep time, let's go. A subsidiary to the Thumb, the Kurakumo clan is a rather large syndicate. Its members are known for their clothes of an achromatic colors and Irizumi with a notable black cloud pattern. I wonder if they expose their skin to show off their augmentation tattoos or to make a display of confidence in their own strength. The rather casual looking apparel and the katana that seems menacingly sharp are another two features that establish the identity of the Kurakumo clan. As is the case of all large syndicates, the Kurakumo clan occupies the territories of a fallen nest and collects protection fees from its residents under the pretext of ensuring their safety in a dangerous area. Needless to say, the fee is absurdly high. Still, you will be able to live in safety until you run out of money. It's not recommended to let them know that you're wealthier than others, though. They are most certainly going to charge a higher fee, without a doubt. So I use these skins a lot, because they're great. I think I put Sayos on hard for like most of the game, because, I don't know, she became an ideal waifu, I guess. Sayo, VA Munyu Zhong, age 35 years, gender female, height 163 centimeters, 5'4", birthday March 1st, personality traits refined, short-tempered, relaxed, hobbies taxidermy, of course it is, specialities sharpening hairpins, specific, likes clear and sharp swords that can reflect her face, dislikes having her hair rumpled and heat. God, if you, I feel like you die. I feel like rumpling her hair would be a death sentence. Like if you just ruffled her hair, it's like, well, you're about to die. Good job. Jin, VA, Quan Shang Hook, age 31 years, gender male, height 191 centimeters, 6'3", birthday September 5th. Personality traits loyal, systematic, stolid. Hobbies occasionally having a round of sake with Seiyo and Yang. Specialities swift and precise movements. Likes heated sake with a lightly smoked fugu fin with Words. Dislikes the cold. Yeah, I don't like the cold either. Yang, VA Huangzhang Young, age 32 years, gender male, height 179 centimeters, 5'10", birthday October 31st, personality traits ruthless, proud, and cunning. Hobbies collecting tokuri with pretty designs. Specialities short-term concentration, likes baths and cold sake, dislikes uncomfortable clothing. Yang was always my favorite design. I think his stance in using the sword and his general clothing were my favorite. He looks very cool in general, to be honest. The name being Dark Cloud Clan meant that the symbol wasn't going to have any color other than black, so it became the first symbol in the game to have opacity, since I didn't want it to be too drab. The symbol was liked by more people than I expected, and it's one of my personal favorites as well. Also, aside from the symbol, I was very fond of Sayo's voice. I think the discrepancy between her soft tone and the harsh language she uses added a layer of depth to the character. Yeah, I think it made it more interesting. That is a really cool symbol, it must be said. I'm a big fan of the Kurikumo clan symbol. Making the katana SFX for this group was quite challenging. I'm satisfied with the clean and clear slashing sound that came out as a result. It's very nice. The Syndicate didn't get to demonstrate its strength much for how frequently they appeared. Because of its size, it was destined to take on the role of the so-called jobber, which surprised me because when you first meet them, you don't think they're going to be jobbers, but oh boy do they job. They job hard, which is a shame because they're actually clearly tough, but they're way in over their head. When working on the visual effects, I wanted to illustrate the feeling of dark clouds in traditional art. I felt proud when I got compliments from the staff that the effects were pretty. It was all visually fantastic. I'm reminded of an illustration that didn't make it in the game. It showed the Kurikumo clan trio looking down at someone, but it wasn't included in order to reinforce the fact that they're the kind of people who kneel before those who are stronger. It's like a visual representation of what Tanya said to Gebera. It was a bit of a shame to miss out on the three's confident faces, but I'm glad to be able to show it in the last chapter of the art book, which we will be looking at. Yeah, these guys are cool. Shame they get absolutely bodied by Tanya, but, you know, it had to happen. These are very nice. These are very nice. These are very nice. They're actually very reminiscent of the Black Silence cards, purely because of a very similar color scheme, and that's the Black Cloud thing. Makes it very reminiscent of Roland's cards. That's a very nice one. I like the tone in that. I love that. I love how casual that is. I appreciate that greatly. That one and that one are my favorites. And that one. 1, 3, and 5 going vertically down. Those three are my favorite. They say a lot about each individual character. Big fan of the Kurikumo clan, and these chibis are fantastic. I love these. Now, obviously I'm biased because I like samurai, I like katanas and stuff, so I like being able to see it, as it were, just general katana combat. And like, looking here, there's nothing particularly outstanding about the form or style, although I do appreciate Yang doing a kick. I always appreciate a kick. But I love the Yao style there. Just generally, Yang is great. I think Jin's style, his actual fighting style, is cooler, personally. That one there in particular is probably my favorite stance. I like that one very much. The holding the sheath up and that sword down, and his sword is actually really fucking cool looking. The partially unsheathed, yep, and then, yeah, where he's clearly brought the sword out like that is very nice. And also the henchman one itself, which is a very simple style, which I appreciate because I don't like it to be too flashy. Looks just right. Very cool. Was very happy when I unlocked this. The first time I actually felt like I was kind of out of my depth in the combat and had to really try and focus. Following the incident that occurred in the back streets of District 9 known as the Streets of Music, those who were deeply touched by the pianist's performance formed this syndicate. They aspire to recreate a fraction of that music. It appears they feel melodies are the most beautiful when they are created by harming others, not unlike the morbid pianism of the distortion that inspired them. The musicians of Bremen have thrown the already disturbed area into further turmoil. I imagine that the residents of the back streets of District 9 are living each day in terror. On a side note, it is said that you can find many streets themed after various subjects in this city. Music, flavor, you name it. If you wander through the city, you'll be able to see the diverse sceneries yourself. Each street has its own ambience, people, and culture. It does make me curious. Even if there are some cruel individuals, a community is nevertheless a community. God, that's hard to read. The methods may be different, but our aims aren't so much. That's why I don't have the right to berate them. Rabbits can apparently cluck or purr too. It doesn't really feel right to call that a cry, though. Yeah, rabbits just don't make any noise ever. They're completely mute, definitely. Everyone who owns a rabbit just spat out their drink. Meow, VA Kim Yeon-woo, age 41 years, gender female, height 155 centimeters or 5'1", birthday April 14th, personality traits self-centered, dissolute, shepherding, hobbies looking for new instruments, specialities perfect pitch, I mean I suppose, likes beautiful melodies and soft food, dislikes hot food. Sure. Moo VA Park Jung Kwang, age 33 years, gender male, height 171 or 5'7", birthday May 29th, personality traits reckless, naughty, and cooperative, hobbies shopping for clothes, specialities playing to the other performer's beats, I guess is he the drummer? Sure. Likes bassy sounds or not, dislikes ear-piercing noises or sounds that don't go together. Oink, VA, Sim Seung Han, age 44 years, gender male, height 177 centimeters or 5'10", birthday January 20th, personality traits village idiot, lost his patience, manners deficient. Wow. Hobbies practicing parties lacking him, specialities using force to destroy obstacles, yeah. Likes meat, loud noises produced by breaking things, dislikes hunger, silence, soft sounds, and whispers. Oink, you're a fucking guy. During a visit to an art gallery in the past, there was an exhibition even, where objects were broken on the spot and the sound was expressed as music. Seeing that, I thought that perhaps there are various forms of music you can think of as beautiful depending on the perspective. Yeah, I'm sure there is. After it was confirmed that I'd be joining the studio, I bought and played Lobotomy Corporation and Library of Ruina to figure out the game's world building even, sorry. Then I got to the scene where Oink attacks Angela, which was exceedingly shocking and upsetting, I agree. I remember attacking Oink with everything I got as soon as the battle started. Yeah, I was kind of the same way. Though I thought it was actually Meow who did that, but I guess I can't remember. The scene was ages ago. Obviously it was Oink, but it was a long time ago. But I remember being pissed. The fairy tale I read as a kid was the first thing that came to mind when I heard the name The Musicians of Bremen, but as of 2020 it gets me thinking about Library of Ruina. Of all the unique characters in The Musicians of Bremen, I think Oink was my favourite. Imagine how impressive the pianist's performance must have been that an association employee who'd barely touched an instrument in his life decided to resign and start a career in music. His attire is also classy, unlike the other two, which is why I gave it to that member of the Flora of Literature, if I remember correctly. He wore that suit very well. But you say that, I picked up bass this year, and that was only because my friend was like, fuck it, join my band. Do it, let's start a band. And I was like, okay, and then we started a band, and I've played 2 gigs as the bassist, because what else was I going to play? But yeah, the Musicians of Bremen are cool, I have to say. Oink is probably my favourite of the 3, honestly, overall, because I liked his fighting style, and the moves were really interesting, but I'll never be pleased about this. Never, ever. Super pissed about that. But using Oink's skin without the mask is actually a genuinely good look. Meow's was pretty good. I can't remember who we gave that to, but I remember she used to do really fucking well. Like, she was an absolute weapon on the battlefield. And it's a good look as well, the glowing, like, sword thing, or baton, or whatever it is. And once again, without the mask, it's a pretty good look. Wedge Office. I remember having mean things to say about these characters and people arguing with me on them because they were like, yo, Philip kind of turns out to be a shit. And I'm like, yeah, Philip does turn out to be a shit, but I still don't really condone the attitudes of the Wedge Office. At least not the ones they displayed. It seemed more like a version of pessimism that treats all attempts at idealism, optimism, or a desire to help anyone else, I guess, is foolish. And yes, that is foolish in the city. I get that that's kind of the culture, but that doesn't mean I agree with it, essentially. I don't agree in the dismissal of good deeds because they might potentially not be the best thing ever. It's like, well, it's better to try than do nothing, surely. But that's another tangent that we don't really want to get back on, because that was a big tangent back then. Although it is a combat-oriented office, most clients that call on it make requests that demand an excellent degree of situational assessment. They're most likely looking for a personnel capable of handling the job with minimal effort and maximum certainty. Wedge Office prefers a method of targeting the enemy's weak point and piercing the exact spot. This is one of the first points at which you get good pierce builds, if I remember correctly. But if I remember correctly is kind of the key term there, I could be talking out my ass. Every office has its strengths and weaknesses, and Wedge Office is no exception. Sometimes the request they take is too difficult to be dealt with alone. Confronting several hostile targets at once would be one example. In such cases, they might ask officers specialized in the related fields for support. It would seem that the office has their closest connection with Dawn Office, which is expertise in actual combat. It also helps that there's a tight bond between Salvador and Oscar. Well, not anymore. Although I suppose, yes, now Salvador's back as well. Philip's gonna have a rough time now that he's back. Is Philip back? I'm not sure, actually. I can't remember the order of events. Was everyone restored before or after the distorted blue reverberation event? Someone can clear that up in the comments for me, I'm sure. I can't quite remember right now. It's been a while. It sounds like fixer insurance is pretty complicated. There's plenty of people trying to pull off fraud, though I'm pretty sure there are other reasons too. I guess you could say that's usually the case. Oscar, VA, Sim Seung Han, age 53 years, Mr. Bloodborne, gender male, height 186 centimeters or 6'1", birthday February 29th, personality traits just, decent, honest, I'm sure he used those words, grade 3 fixer, hobbies, seeking newsworthy topics, specialities, quick judgment, finding the best course of action, likes tea with a good scent, dislikes clothes of intense color, headache-inducing music. Pamela, age 29 years, could have fooled me. Gender, female, height 140, 4'7", she's fucking minuscule. Birthday, May 9th, personality traits, easily bored, clever, certain, grade 4. Hobbies, changes regularly. Specialities, prompt action, unhesitating and bold acts, likes a healthy diet, water, celery, ugh. Dislikes sweet food. Did I mention a VA? VA Kim Yun-woo. Words are hard. Pamela, VA, Kim Haru, age 26 years, gender female, height 140, she's also tiny, 4'7". Birthday, November 13th, personality traits, frigid, stern, humble. Grade 4 fixer, hobbies, clipping interesting news articles. Specialities, organizing information, memorization. Likes cheesecake and herbal tea, dislikes water celery, yeah, me too. Fucking hell. That tea is all I can remember, I wonder why. A sleek silhouette accompanied by a disproportionately large spear along with a fancy hat and eye patch. Oscar is truly one cool character. Yes, he is. I will not deny that. I take the piss out of him for being a Bloodborne reference, but y'all should know that Bloodborne is my favorite Souls game, and indeed one of my favorite games ever, and that is partially because of the aesthetic. And that spear is fucking dope. All three of their spears are dope. It was rather difficult to decide on the concept for the trail effect. We were hesitant about putting colors into the effect because it's just a spear being swung with great force. Yeah, but, yeah, you know, you can make it look cool. Salvador and Oscar met by chance a long time ago during an Urban Nightmare class request. Salvador praised Oscar's composure and Oscar recognized Salvador's discernment, and from there their friendship was forged. Moreover, they worked great together. This is all from a time when they were much younger. Now they're old and lame. As much as I like spears, I do find this moveset to be a little underwhelming, but I will offset that by saying that you don't need to go that fancy with a spear in general. In fact, that's kind of the point of a spear. Spears are like the easiest weapons to use ever. That is entirely the point of a spear. So, I have no complaints about this not being particularly fancy, because it doesn't need to be. These are fucking cool though. That is nice. That is damn nice. This is some good fucking card art. Also very reminiscent of the Black Silence. Oh boy, it's bloody Philip. Oh wow, this changes when it gets to here. So Philip, VA, Kim Min-ju. Once again, you did a fantastic job. Age, 24 years, gender male, height 175 centimeters or 5'9". Birthday, April 30th. Personality traits, uncertain, knows to be grateful, repressed. Grade 5 fixer. The rest, unknown. No one's going to cry on my behalf even if I'm sad, which was the name of the video when we fought him. I'm pretty sure. Or it was just no one's going to cry on my behalf, which is a very good line. I like Philip's pose where he's pointing the sword ahead of him. The way he looks like he's stealing his determination is cool to me. Being the second boss fight we made, there weren't many points of reference, and trying to implement a final attack of sorts had Philip using a page stronger than Greater Split Vertical. Yeah. God. We needed this imagery and presentation of a protagonist having a moment of awakening. It was time to try out various effects and such. The motif of the background is a Greek temple. I remember this because I remember at the start of this fight I fucking hated it, and by the end of it I was a huge fan and thought it was the sickest shit ever. When the melee track comes in and the fire really starts to build up, oh. Oh, incredible. Really sold me on, like, the game, even though I was already sold, but more so. Through Philip's story, we wanted to convey the message that not everyone can conquer their suffering flawlessly. The ego wasn't fully realized either. I thought of him as engaging in a constant balancing act, trying not to fall into the distortion. Sadness can strike again at any time, and you can never be sure that you'll overcome it. I'm happy with how Philip's story went, but I'm sad I never got to see, like, the full version of this. Because this is very cool. I really like the concept. But once again, I think Philip's story went the way it should have. Oh god, this is beautiful. That's fucking gorgeous. Look at that. They're doing flame effects better than most like AAA games. That looks amazing. Look at that. And then the card art is exceptional. That one. That one. Honestly, I really like that one as well. And that one. I like them all. They're all fucking brilliant, and the stage when it's properly kicking off. Gorgeous. Fucking gorgeous. Love it. Oh fuck, here we go. Really? You're gonna give us profiles on Jaehon? Is that necessary? Or even Elena is a bit of a push. I'm sure you don't want to be separated from your loved ones. You want to stay with them forever on this trip that might last an eternity, don't you? Then please have faith in us. We need your agreement, and you must be prepared to fight them. This is perhaps the smallest and merriest village in the world. After being cooped up in the warp train for so long, the passengers decided to establish this small town after due consideration in order to protect one another. Alas, it's not all sunshine and roses. Outwardly, their appearances are nothing short of horrifying. I cannot fully understand the sentiments that led to this decision. However, what others think of them is probably irrelevant. You never know how you would act until you've been put in their shoes. It's true, that level of mental torment is just far beyond anything any of us can imagine. If you watch the episode in which we are introduced to Lovetown, you can hear my fucking disbelief with each time jump, because it just gets worse and worse and worse. It's like a day later, a week later, and by a week later I was like, what the fuck, how are these people still in one piece? And it's like 200,000 years later, and I'm like, what? Obviously not that much, but an exorbitant amount of time later, and I'm like, wow, this is fucked. Mary, VA, Kim Boner. God, Mary's tragic. Age, 22 years, gender female, height, 160, 5'3", birthday, December 5th, personality traits, selfless, rather weak-willed, innocent. Occupation, average salary woman. They didn't even give her a job, it's just salary woman? Sure. Hobbies, brewing tea from hand-picked leaves, watching horror movies. I mean, none's worse than the one she lived. Specialities, cooking side dishes, likes gypsophilia, don't know what that is. Flowers with a mild scent, dislikes harsh superiors. Tommy, age 23 years, gender male, height 169 centimeters or 5'7". Birthday January 9th, personality traits faint-hearted, attentive, kind. Occupation owner of a flower shop, of course he is. Hobbies reading, specialities reading the room. Likes Darjeeling tea, dislikes gloomy atmospheres or being surprised. I bet he was surprised. Jaehon. Oh, sorry, the VAs. Kim In Hyung. Yeah, so Jaehon, VA Park Shu Kwang. Age 35 years, gender male, height 187 centimeters or 6'2". Birthday June 22nd. Personality traits collected, quiet, capable. Occupation surgeon. All other things unknown. Elena, VA Yun Eung. Age 34 years, gender female, height 176 centimeters or 5'9", possibly one of the tallest females so far. Birthday June 16th, personality traits optimistic, altruistic, and emotive. Occupation nurse, the rest is unknown. It's a shame, because I thought she was a cutie until I realized what she was. This was the first boss battle to be added to the main story. As it is the first battle we made, it's pretty impactful, but the pattern isn't necessarily complicated. Yeah, they kept it fairly simple, which I appreciate. Lovetown was one of the most ambitious episodes for me, in general I'd say. It was an opportunity to highlight the cruel sacrifices and irony lurking beneath Another Wing. I took inspiration from the sci-fi horror films that left a lasting impression during my youth. This was the first episode to have stage-changing effects and a song composed by the music group Millie. And to great effect. I was curious about how the people of Lovetown would look before we started working on them. Then the director put up an image of Tameri and circled parts of their body and requested that we attach their heads and limbs to those segments. When you combine the three townspeople, you can see Tameri's silhouette. Oh. The music playing during the dialogue segment for Lovetown was inspired by the soundtrack of the film Event Horizon. It does not fucking surprise me that Event Horizon, of all things, was a fucking influence for that. That scene in general. I was a fan of the film's atmosphere, so I was looking forward to how the music would turn out. I was happy that the composers at EIM. Is that E? I think so. Managed to create an empty, eerie piece that fits Lovetown well. Yeah. This was the part that captivated me the most when I skimmed through the overall storyline for the first time. Personally, it was unfortunate that Tamari's design was much cuter than expected, in your opinion. Yeah, this was definitely a chapter or an episode or what have you that drew me in quite hard, because this was a lot. This was a lot, right? This was a lot. Whatever you were expecting going into this one, you definitely weren't expecting what happened. Because holy shit. Good fucking god. Tomeri, age, forget counting after 329,182 days. Gender, Tomeri. Height, tall enough to bump my head on the doorway. Birthday, day 113 of our train. Personality traits, nice. Grade, protecting Lovetown. Hobbies, folding squares. Specialities, folding triangles. Likes compliments, dislikes bad peoples. Do they become squares or triangles? I'm Tomeri from Lovetown. Oh. I liked the background track by Millie so much that it was the only thing I listened to at work for 2 months. I don't know a lot about love, but I guess this must be it. No, it's not, no. I refuse to accept that. No fucking way. I have a deep-seated personal fear of being trapped in a less than favorable relationship. So I rejected it hard in my soul, and it's probably why it affected me so much while I was ill. It's a very good track though. I listened to it a lot because it was good. I still listen to it every now and then now, but I definitely listened to it a lot back then. But yeah, that fucked me up. Saw this character on my art team staff member's monitor not long after I joined the studio, and my eyes were shaking at the startling sight. On top of that, the part where Tamari's head blows up during the reception, it was so shocking I could feel my brain tremble. Maybe it was then that I decided I wanted to work with this team for a long time. Yeah, I didn't notice that during the episode, or I don't think I did. When someone mentioned to me that happened, it actually sent a cold feeling in my stomach, because I was like, oh, that's fucked. Yeah, because they mentioned that the Mary part of it starts crying as well, and I was like, that's fucked. That's awful. That's the worst. Absolutely brilliant, but that's the worst. I tried to make the presentation and sound effects that played during Tamari's battle give off an overwhelming sense of dread and terror. You did. In particular, I put a lot of effort into Mary's scream. It was extremely effective. It makes me jump when I hear it in-game, even though it's my own creation. I played the reception 4 times in a row to test difficulty just before shipping the update, and my head was pounding from the struggle and atmosphere of the fight. Oh, it's intense. Especially the first time. Making the chibis for Lovetown was quite hard, I bet, but fun. Seeing Mary faintly remember Tamari in the second phase gave me such heartache too. Though I'm pretty squeamish about gross stuff, I did my best to draw the grossest looking things. You did a good job. The stage transition was designed with the idea that because the library is heavily influenced by the force of the mind, its interior is infected by guests with strong aura of the distortion or ego. I like the moments when the background and music return to the library's normality once Tamari is defeated. I love the moment it changes to the Millie track and the distorted background. It is such a moment. It hits you. You're just sat there like, oh, fuck. Oh, God. Oh, no. That's all I can describe it as. But yeah, that background is so fucked. It's one of the most evocative things in this game. I could have gone my entire life without seeing close-ups of this card art. That I find particularly disturbing, for some reason. These two are pretty grim as well. That's cool though, I like that, that's very cool. It's all fucked. Oh god, yeah, we're actually gonna get to see these up close. Brilliant, wonderful, thanks. Oh yeah, over here is Mary without the Tommy. Yeah, and Mary's crying, and the head's exploding, and it's an eyeball falling out. Hold up. If I have to look at that, so do you. There's a fucking eyeball falling out of it. And yeah, and that turns into an extra hand that comes out the top. Shit's fucked. Because you can imagine the absolute worst case scenario, the worst possible outcome. That's pretty cool. That one there's pretty fucking cool. The worst possible outcome for this battle in which Tamari wins, but Tommy's head has exploded during it, which means Temeria's just left with Mary and nothing else. Which I guess wouldn't have made a difference because, you know, eventually the warp train would have fucking pulled into station. But would Tommy have been... No, would Tommy even have still been there because he died outside of the warp train? There's a lot of potential shitty outcomes that would result from that. So yeah, I'm kind of glad it didn't turn out that way. And here are the rusted chain links. They're pretty fucking cool. I do like Shikan. He's pretty fucking sick. Cool moveset. I remember I used it a lot for one of the characters on literature, and they ran a very high-risk, high-reward build. I remember liking that nugget quite a lot. Workshop fixer, affiliate fixers. I used this one for Malkuth for a long time because I thought she looked great in like the armor with the cape. Yeah, that stance. I thought that looked so fucking cool. Hanafuda and the Zhang office. Oh, so fucking cool. Some really good side fights in this chapter, for real. And we've done Urban Plague, we're on to Urban Nightmare. And I'm gonna fucking leave it there because I didn't expect this to take over an hour, but it did. Unless, well, you know, I've cut out bits here and there to make it clean, so it might be less than an hour for you guys. But yeah, that took longer than I thought because there's a lot to talk about. And I think it's why I want to A, keep these a little more concise, and B, spread them out a bit so that each time I make one, I can talk a little bit more. Instead of just desperately rushing to get through it all for the sake... I don't want to do this for the sake of doing it. I want to do it because I want to talk about Library of Ruina and these characters that I enjoy. And I also don't want the videos to convey a sense of just trying to rush through it and not really giving each character, each chapter, each concept, each idea the attention it deserves. And that's why I'm going to spread these out. I'm not going to rush out the rest of the book club. I'm going to be working on it as and when I want to. I'm not going to rush it out because I don't want to phone these in. Not for you guys and not for myself. I don't think it's fair on anyone if I rush these out, so I ain't gonna. But ladies and gentlemen, that was the book club. Expect more because we're far from done. Well, we're not that far from done, but there's still quite a ways to go. But thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to Sion Distance, LOL, Final Legend, Etherbin, Linky, Xeon Cedar, Bimblewart, Tom King, Majoko Maimon, Adash Sanjeev, Alkir, Honeydew Corporation, Sweet Baby Red, Lord Scullington, Jessicity, Plutonium Pie, Dreamer Ghost, Leper Lullaby, K-Bub, Magical, The Frostbite, Monsoon, Sir World, Warmaster Oku, SCP-106A, Namad, and KT800 for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you all so much for watching. I enjoyed this. I genuinely did. I enjoyed coming back. Like, I just haven't had a lot of interaction with Ruina over the past few months, so actually getting to come back and remember all these different characters and stuff I went up against and the experiences and how I felt while playing them was very satisfying, and it's why I want to keep going. But like I said, I want to space this out. Don't want to force it, don't want to rush it, want to make sure it's done right, want to make sure I actually have things to say while doing it. So, you know, it'll be done as and when it's done. As with everything I do, it'll be done as and when it's done. Trying to force myself to do shit doesn't tend to pan out, so I ain't doing that, basically. But thank you so much for watching. Whatever happens next time, it'll be Urban Nightmare, I'm sure. I'll probably restrict myself to, at most, a chapter at a time. So when that happens, I hope I see you there. Doodles. Goodbye.